ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Bhakti Tattva Viveka series of seminars every Friday and Saturday morning. Yesterday we began with the introduction to the Bhakti Tattva Vivek. We saw the contents. There are 4 essays, 4 chapters. Intrinsic nature of devotion, Bhakti Abhas, semblance of Bhakti, and the natural attributes of Bhakti or the characteristics of Bhakti. And chapter 4 is analysis of the qualification for Bhakti. We went into the preface, how it is only Bhakti which has been extolled in the Puranas, Itihasas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, and by all the Vaishnava Acharyas. So, by practicing Shuddha Bhakti, we get the life's ultimate goal, that is Krishna Prem. What to speak of practicing Shuddha Bhakti? Even a semblance of Bhakti, if one practices, one can get Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So, many in the name of Shuddha Bhakti practice what is Chala Bhakti or false devotion. So that's why there are different types of bhaktis, which is called as Chala Bhakti, Abhas Bhakti, Pratibhimba Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Aropa Siddha Bhakti, Sangha Siddha Bhakti. These are not Shuddha Bhakti. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that's why I wrote Bhakti Tattva Vivek, to clearly delineate what is Shuddha Bhakti, so that we can be saved from all these types of mixed devotion. So this is what we saw in the preface yesterday, and we began with the first essay, chapter 1, the intrinsic nature of devotion. If you remember, we discussed the first Mangalacharan verse, very beautiful verse, where Bhaktivinoda Thakur is offering his obeisances to the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna Chaitanya. Yugapad Rajate Yasmin Bheda Bheda Vichitrata Vandetam Krishna Chaitanyam Pancha Tattvanvitam Swataha. Pranamya Gaura Chandrasya Sevakan Shuddha Vaishnavan Bhakti Tattva Vivekakhyam Shastram Vakshyami Yatnata. Vishva Vaishnava Dasyas Shudrasya Kinchanasya Me Etasmini Uddame Hi Ekam Balam Bhagavati Shama. Very beautiful Mangalacharan verse. So yesterday we saw this. We should try to recite this. I will share the slides today and you can recite this. And the first paragraph we saw, he is addressing us very intimately. The goal is to taste and preach bhakti. So that's why he's going to discuss the nature of pure bhakti. And two results occur. Yesterday we saw that ignorance is destroyed and human life will be successful by relishing the nectar derived from Shuddha Bhakti. And we can protect ourselves from polluted and mixed of conceptions which exist in the name of Shuddha Bhakti. And by appearance of pure Bhakti, one will be protected from these false philosophies. Now we'll go to today's session, which we are beginning. What is the harm of false philosophies? Because it was mentioned here that it will save ourselves from polluted and mixed conceptions. So what harm these false philosophies can cause? Let us begin now this paragraph 2. Unfortunately, in the present day society, in the name of Shuddha Bhakti, various types of mixed devotion such as Karma Mishra, mixed with fruitive action, Jnana Mishra, mixed with speculative knowledge, and Yoga Mishra, mixed with various types of yoga processes, as well as polluted and imaginary conceptions are spreading everywhere like germs of plague. So these are also bona fide bhakti, Karma Mishra, Jnana Mishra, Yoga Mishra. But apart from that, there are other various polluted and imaginary conceptions which are not even bona fide. At least Karma Mishra Bhakti is Bhakti which is also given in the scriptures. Jnana Mishra Bhakti is a Bhakti which is mentioned in the scriptures, right? In the Gita it is mentioned. Yoga Mishra Bhakti is there. But these other types of polluted and imaginary conceptions of Bhakti, oh, you cannot even imagine in India. Sometimes, there are so-called saints who say, Yatha tat, Yatha pat, Tata mat. Whichever path you take, whichever object you can worship, and you can go back to the spiritual world. So all these like, Sahajiya, Aulabek, Saki Bheki, all these apasampradayas, yesterday we were discussing, these are all polluted and imaginary conceptions. So they're all spreading apart from these bona fide Karma Mishra, Jnana Mishra, and Yoga Mishra. People in general consider these polluted and mixed conceptions to be bhakti, respect them as such, and thus remain deprived of Shuddha. In Kali Yuga, especially those who propagate false philosophies, which are not even Shastric, they get huge following. They get huge following. This is Kali Yuga. These polluted and mixed concepts are our greatest enemies. There is no greater enemy than errant philosophies or false philosophies. Some of them claim that bhakti is nothing and that there is no value in bhakti and the Lord is an appearance of imaginary sentiment quickly. Actually, Lord Krishna did not appear 5,000 years back. Oh, this is all sentimental. Actually, there was no battle of Kurukshetra. It is just an allegory. Uh, Kurukshetra means this body, and the five Pandavas means these five senses. So they completely water down the actual history into all these kind of allegories. So this goes on in the name of Bhakti. They claim that people create the Lord by imagination and then accept a sickness of the heart called Bhakti. Oh, these people who practice Bhakti, they are sick at heart, they are diseased. They are not able to do anything in this material world achieve, and that's why they have taken up to this path. And the Lord is just created in their imagination. There is no Lord actually. So these are all the kinds of conceptions they have. Though such persons are opponents, they cannot disturb us. If we can decisively recognize their falsity, and if by our natural taste for bhakti, we can ignore them. So these all false philosophies, they cannot disturb us because we understand the falsity in them. Why? Because we have natural taste for Shuddha Bhakti. Then we can ignore these. But those who propagate that Bhagavad Bhakti is the highest dharma, yet behave against the principles of Shuddha Bhakti and also instruct others against the principles of Shuddha Bhakti, can be especially harmful to us. So those who say that, oh, this is Shuddha Bhakti, but they are practicing or preaching the tenets not based on Shuddha Bhakti, this can be dangerous. You have a genuine note and a counterfeit note. Both look the same. And the counterfeit is what is being circulated, and it is said that, oh, this is genuine. Then it becomes a problem. In the name of bhakti, they instruct us against the actual principles of bhakti and ultimately lead us onto a path which is totally opposed to Bhagavad Bhakti. Now, paragraph 3. Rup Goswami's definition of pure bhakti. So, understanding that these harmful or polluted conceptions can cause all these problems, Bhaktivinoda Thakur now is going to define what is pure bhakti. And he's going to define it from Rupa Goswami's definition of pure bhakti from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. For this reason, our previous acharyas have defined Swarupa or intrinsic nature of bhakti and have repeatedly cautioned us to keep ourselves from polluted and mixed concepts. So, Rupa Goswami is our acharya who has defined Shuddha Bhakti. Once you know what this Shuddha, then you should become aware of what is Shuddha and keep away from it. I will step by step narrate their teachings. They wrote many works with the purpose of defining pure bhakti. Among these works, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is outstanding. Actually, there is no scripture called greater than Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the hidden treasures of pure devotion, which is Vraja Bhakti, is only revealed through Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami. There is no jewel or a gem-like scripture like the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in these 14 planetary systems. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari from the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. She's a Manjari, and she has practically participated in the most intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And when Mahaprabhu appeared, his associates also appeared, and Rupa Manjari appeared as Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami took 17 years to compose Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. assisted by Jiva Goswami. It's not that he just thought, deliberated and wrote the scripture. He had actually, as Rup Manjari, he has witnessed these pastimes. So the rasa of Raj Bhakti is revealed in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So it is very important. That's why we should study Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Especially we should study the Nectar of Devotion, the summary study of the science of pure devotion written by Srila Prabhupada. Repeatedly we should study Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion summary study. And then later on we should actually study also the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu original Sanskrit verses with Acharya's commentaries also, as we study with our teachers in the Bhakti Shastri and later on. Rupa Goswami has composed a verse to describe the general characteristics of pure bhakti. So what are the general characteristics of pure bhakti? Rupa Goswami has defined it. Now I will go to Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Rupa Goswami's definition of pure devotional service. Here I am taking a detour from Bhakti Tattva Viveka discussion, and because Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to elaborate extensively on what Rupa Goswami is defined as pure devotion. Let us understand what is pure devotion. So we will study now Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu definition of pure devotion. Any questions, any clarifications up till now? Anyone has? Any clarifications anyone has up till now? Okay. So let us go now to the definition of pure devotional service. Please hear very attentively, because sometimes we don't pronounce the verse Ucharan, we don't do it properly. So I will recite this verse, and I want at least 2 devotees to recite it. Anyabhilashita shunyam dhyana karmadyanavritam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. So 2 devotees can raise their hand and recite this verse. Okay, Radha Jivan Prabhu has first raised his hand, and let us give first chance to Radha Jivan Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
Anyavilashita sunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama.
Okay, so now I'll tell you. Anya, A is there. Anya abhilashita shunyam. And jnana karmadino. Jnana karmadya ana. It's not adi here.
Okay, yeah.
And then not anukulena. Anukulena. A is there here again. Anukulena krishnanu. Shilanam bhaktir uttama. Uttama is here. So we have to focus on each and every word. And a, there is a lot of difference. So yes. Which are the other devotees who have raised their hand? Okay. Till now, okay. Vaishnavi Mataji has her hand. We will give her chance first. Okay. Shakuntala Vaishnavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadya anavritam
Jnana karmadyam navritam.
Jnana karmadya anavritam anukula yena krishnanu shilam bhakti
Anukulena krishnanu anukul. Cool is
Krishnanuशीलनं Bhaktiruttama.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
one more. Yeah, Madan Deshpande Prabhuji.
अन्याभिलाषिता शून्यं ज्ञानकर्माद्यनावृतम् आनुकूलेन कृष्णानुशीलनं भक्तिरुत्तमा.
Yes. So we have to focus on each of the words, and always it is better to see the Sanskrit so that our Ucharan is very clear. So this verse, we should always, whenever we are practicing any Anga of Bhakti, we should recite this verse and see whether we are fitting in this definition. So I have now taken the translation by Jiva Goswami. The highest Bhakti, Bhaktir Uttama, is defined as continuous service or emotions. So please mark this. It is what? Continuous service or emotions. Anushilanam. Anu is continuous. Please mark this while we are discussing. Directed towards Krishna, his expansion forms, or others related to him. So Krishna means it can be Krishna, his expansions, or others related to him. Spiritual master or worship of Tulsi Devi. All this is included in Krishna. How? With a pleasing attitude towards Krishna, anukulena. So this is first part. It should be devoid of desires other than the desire to please the Lord, anya bilashita shunyam, and unobstructed by impersonal gyan, the materialistic rituals of karma or other unfavorable acts. Jnana karmadya avritam. So now let us go into the commentary of Srila Prabhupada from Nectar of Devotion and Jiva Goswami and even Vishwanath Chakra Thakur. And our discussion on this verse will be at least, I think, 2 classes, because we are going to study Bhakti Tattva Viveka, which is a further deliberation on pure devotion. But let us first understand pure devotion definition by Rupa Goswami. Now, what Srila Prabhupada has to say on this verse from the Nectar of Devotion, this is first class devotional service. So Prabhupada is saying first class. That means there is second class and third class also, which will be Mishra Bhakti. Uttama Bhakti means first class it is. Bhakti Uttama is known by one's tendency to be fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. So fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, what it refers to. Anyone would like to try and answer? Fully engaged. What does it refer to? In the verse, Anya Vilashata Shunyam Jnana Kardyanavratam Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. What it refers here? There is a hint here given. Okay. Virendra Yadav Prabhuji. Yes.
Fully engaged here refers to Anushilanam, continuous service.
Yes. Fully engaged means Anushilanam. Fully engaged. Serving the Lord favorably. Anukulena. So Prabhupada, see, the translation all matches what Rupa Goswami is saying. Pure devotional service should be free from the desire of any material benefit or for sense gratification. Anya vilashita shunyam. Pure devotional service must always be free from such fruitive activities and philosophical speculations. Jnana karmadya anavritam. One has to learn Krishna consciousness or pure devotional service from the authorities by spontaneous loving service. Anushilanam. So that's how Prabhupada defines in the Nectar of Devotion. Okay, so now further. Primary and secondary characteristics of Uttama Bhakti. The Mukhya Lakshan and the Gauna Lakshan. Or the Sarupa Lakshan and the Tatastha Lakshan. We saw that the intrinsic nature of pure devotion. Intrinsic nature is called as the Mukhya Lakshan or the Sarup Lakshan. And the extrinsic nature is known as the Tatastha Lakshan or the Gauna Lakshan. We have to understand what is Mukhya Lakshan and Gauna Lakshan. Of course, there is a very elaborate explanation by Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbhas. We will not go into that. Later on, as we study further, we can do that. But now, just an understanding of what is Mukhya Lakshan and Gauna Lakshan. Primary characteristics, Mukhya Lakshan. Removing these characteristics, there is no bhakti. So if you remove the Mukhya Lakshan, if bhakti is not done anukulena, if it is done with pratikul, then there is no bhakti only. So if you remove the primary characteristics, there is no bhakti itself. And anushilanam, continuous service to Krishna or his incarnations or others related to him. If this is not there, Shilanam is not there, then there is no bhakti itself. So Mukhya Lakshan means if you remove these characteristics, there is no bhakti. And secondary characteristics, Gauna Lakshan, removing these characteristics, the bhakti ceases to be of superior nature. If you are practicing bhakti anukulena, favorably, you have a very favorable attitude to practice devotion, and you are engaged in service of Krishna or spiritual master, but you have a desire. You have a desire that I want to serve because I am having some fruitive desire, that I want to serve Krishna, and then with a desire to get some wealth or get some following or get something. So there is no anya abhilashita. There is abhilasha. There is a desire. So then what happens? That bhakti doesn't become tama bhakti. It is not shuddha bhakti. It becomes mishra bhakti. There is bhakti because Mukhya Lakshan is there. But then it is not shuddha bhakti, but it becomes mishra bhakti. Mixed devotion, not pure devotion. So this is the secondary characteristics. If you remove the secondary characteristics, it is not of a superior nature, but of an inferior nature. Now, Dhruva Maharaj, I'm just giving an example. Dhruva Maharaj, under the instructions of Narad Muni, practiced devotion with a favorable attitude, and continuously he practiced for 6 months. But what? With a desire that he should get a kingdom greater than his great-grandfather Brahma. So that bhakti is called as karma mishra bhakti. It is called as karma mishra bhakti. Of course, when he had the darshan of the Lord, he regretted. I was looking for broken pieces of glasses, but now I've got a jewel. And he did not want now that desire to be fulfilled, but still the Lord fulfilled that desire. So his bhakti initially was karma mishra. And with the practice of bhakti, when he became purified, that mission, now he had no desire after he had darshan of the Lord. He became free from that contamination. So from karma mishra bhakti and the Lord's darshan, he became a Shuddha Bhakta. But while practicing, his bhakti was not Shuddha Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti, but it was having desires. There was abhilasha. So this is the difference between primary characteristics and secondary characteristics. Mukhya Lakshan, Gauna Lakshan, or Sarupa Lakshan and Tatastha Lakshan. I'll give another example. Water, it has Mukhya Lakshan and Gauna Lakshan. Water means it has to be water. If there is Mossambi juice, it looks like water, but it is not water. It looks liquid. So if there is no water, then its Mukhya Lakshan is missing. Then Gauna Lakshan means water is there, but that water is filled with little mud or dirt. So that water is there, but it is not pure water. So these are how uh, every tattva or padhartha has these Mukhya and Gauna Lakshanas. Now, identify the Gauna and the Mukhya Lakshans in this definition of a good student. Now, this is an exercise. Rishikesh goes to school and scores very good marks. Hence, he is a good student. Now, this is the definition of a good student. So, in this definition, which is the Mukhya Lakshan or the Swarup Lakshan and which is the Tatastha Lakshan? Who will answer this? Raise your hands. I would like to see some new devotees in this group to answer. What about others? Okay. Vaishnavi Mataji, Shakuntala Vaishnavi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
The Mukhya Lakshan is he's a good student.
No. See, the definition of good student, we are saying the good student has two characteristics. One is he goes to school. Secondly, he scores very good marks. So in that, one is Mukhya Lakshan and other is Gauna Lakshan. So which is the Mukhya Lakshan and which is the Gauna Lakshan?
Mukhya is he score very good marks.
Okay, and what is the Gauna Lakshan?
He goes to school.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Rishikesh goes to school is a Mukhya Lakshan, and
Yes.
Gavan Lakshan is receives good mark. I mean, we are not worried about the full.
No. Because, see, if he's regularly going to school, that means, he's a very studious student, attending all the classes, studying.
Yes.
So definitely he will score
Good marks.
Yeah. So the Mukhya Lakshan here is Rishikesh goes to the school. And the Gaun Lakshan is that he scores very good marks. So if Rishikesh scores very good marks and is not going to the school at all, how can he score very good marks? Yes or no? Cannot score very good marks. That means there is something he must be copying. So that's how you come to the conclusion that he's a good student, because these two characteristics are fulfilled. And in that, Rishikesh goes to school is the Mukhya Lakshan. So like that, for everything, there is always the Mukhya and the Gauna Lakshan. The Nyaya Kosh Dictionary of Logic defines Swarup Lakshan as a thing's fundamental nature and Tatastha Lakshan as the secondary nature that further defines it. So the fundamental nature of a thing, water means it has to be water. That's the fundamental nature of water. And further about that, pure water, no dirt in it. So the fundamental nature of a good student is that he has to go to school. And further, he's also good because he's scoring very good marks. There are students who are good students, they might not score very good marks, but they have this Mukhya Lakshan, and that's also good. The secondary Lakshan might not be there. So both together here make him a good student. So both these Lakshanas are required. If Rishikesh is going to school regularly. He has this Mukhya Lakshan, but he's not scoring good marks. Then he is an average student. Then he's an average student, right? So it is, the secondary characteristic is missing. So like that, we have to understand. Now, based on only this discussion of primary and secondary characteristics, Mukhya Lakshan and Gauna Lakshan, till now what we have discussed, only on this topic, if you have any questions, raise your hands. Because it's very, very important that we understand this Sarupa Lakshan and Tatastha Lakshan. Otherwise, we cannot go ahead, because based on this concept only, everything is built up. Any questions, any clarifications anyone has? Anyone else? There's only one hand raised. All others have understood or not understood anything. Okay. Virendra Yadav Guruji, yeah.
Hare Krishna, bro. Dhanavad Pranam. Bro, if only Sarup Lakshan is there and Tatastha Lakshan is completely missing or partially it is there, or I mean some percentage, then it will fall in category of missed devotion.
Yes. If the Swarup Lakshan is present and Tatastha Lakshan are not present, then it ceases to be Shuddha Bhakti. For Shuddha Bhakti, both the characteristics should be present. Then only, then it is called as Uttama Bhakti. That's why it's very important to understand. Good student, you say he's regularly going to the school, but he's not scoring good marks. Then he's not a good student. He's an average student. So for good student to qualify, both these categories, both these lakshanas should fulfill. Then only he can be called as a good student. Similarly, Uttama Bhakti should have both the characteristics, the Swarupa Lakshan and as well as the Tatastha Lakshan. Even for mixed devotion, the Swarupa Lakshan has to be there. There is no doubt. Otherwise, there is no Bhakti only. Karma Mishra Bhakti or Jnana Mishra Bhakti, we say, there is Bhakti, but it is Mishrit. Because the secondary characteristics are not fulfilled. They are not fulfilled. I hope it is clear.
Yes, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyone else has any questions about the primary and secondary characteristics? Prashant Renke. Okay. Please write your spiritual names, those who are online, so that I can take your initiated names. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. This is Parampara Das, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So you can write your
Yeah, I'll write
initiated
it.
name. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll write for you. Okay, please.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, while we are practicing Shuddha Bhakti, so automatically
No,
we are...
1 minute. We should not be under a conception that we are practicing Shuddha Bhakti, first of all.
Yeah. That is there. So, while Shuddha Bhakti, so whenever we chant and we are doing a Bhakti or Seva, so automatically comes in our mind that is some, what we say, some karma will comes because whatever some desires will come. So then that time, how we can come out of from that desire, Prabhuji?
Okay, I got your question. That we are practicing some angas of bhakti, like chanting or doing some deity service. So that time, desires will come. Oh, after the deity service, I desire that I should get the Mahaprasad. So, is that your question? Am I getting it correct? No, so that time what we should do, right? Parampara Prabhu?
Yes,
Is it correct?
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is correct, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So, in our chitta, in the heart, there are unlimited desires in the subtle body. And while practicing devotion, these desires will, because there is, unlimited desires filled in the heart, these desires will come. At that time, we should be reminded of what is the definition of pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is anya abhilashita shunyam. No other desire except the desire to please Krishna. No other desire except the desire to please Krishna. So if I have a desire that, I do this service and I have an expectation that they will give me Rajbhog Prasad. So when we have that kind of a desire, then what happens? After doing the activity of bhakti, we are looking for the result. So when the result comes that, you get the Mahaprasad, then you become happy. And the pujari takes the Mahaprasad and goes away. You become distressed. Why you become happy or you become distressed? Because you had a desire while performing that activity. So that's why if you see the basic principle of even karma yoga is karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma phala ishu. Don't desire the fruit. Sukhe dukhe samay kritva labha labho jaya jayo. So if you have, if you desire the results, whether it is happiness, I will, if I get this, then I'll become happy. If I don't get, then I'll become distressed. So that means when the result comes out of its own accord, you did not desire that the pujari will give Mahaprasad. It comes on its own. That is reciprocation in bhakti. But with the desire, when you perform, you get affected. And then you can understand that, oh, I have done this activity of bhakti not with the pure intention exclusively to please Krishna or spiritual master or, for that. So for that we can understand. So we are still not anya abhilashita shunyam then. So that's why we have to have the clear definition and understanding of Shuddha Bhakti. And with that understanding, when we start practicing bhakti, then we come to know what is our state of consciousness. And then we can slowly come to that platform. Is it clear, Parampara Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Any other questions about primary characteristics and secondary characteristics? Have we understood this or no? Mukhya Lakshan and Gauna Lakshan. Intrinsic nature of pure devotion and extrinsic nature. We have to have this clear definition. What is intrinsic and what is extrinsic? What is Mukhya and Gaun? Okay, so let us now go ahead. Because with this understanding now, we are going to go ahead now. Okay. Anushilanam. Anushilanam comes from the root word. In Sanskrit, the root words are called as dhatu, verbal roots. Anu is a prefix. There is prefix and suffix in English. And in Sanskrit, it is called as visarga. So it is anu plus shila. It is shila dhatu. Now the shila has two connotations. It has two connotations. So, connotations means shades of meanings. Just like blue. Blue means, when I say blue, you immediately in your mind, you get a picture, image. Blue means blue. But I use the blue word to mean differently. moment I gave the news of the death of a relative, she turned blue. So now, her expression, based on hearing that news, she becomes suddenly negative. So the blue now is used in a negative sense also. So every word has also connotations. Connotations means what I explained now. There is a literal meaning of the word, and there is other meanings also have. It can be positive as well as negative. That's why shield has two connotations, positive connotation and negative. Pravritatmika expression. Expressing action. Pravritatmika and nivritatmaka. Nivritatmana, atmaka and pravritatmaka. Expressing action or non-action. So Shila means to worship, practice, and because Anushilanam is action for Krishna. So there is deity worship. You are, you're serving the Vaishnavas. These are all angas of bhakti. So it has this pravritatmaka expression in the form of action. It can have nivritatmaka in the form of to intensely absorbed. A devotee is just sitting and he is absorbed in the remembrance of Krishna. There is no action. He is not literally performing any action. It doesn't mean that he is not doing Anushilanam. He is still doing Anushilanam. Prahlad Maharaj is Smaranacharya. He's just sitting in the asana and simply absorbed in Krishna Smaran. So that is also Anushilanam. So in this way, the Shil has two connotations. Now, Anu. The prefix Anu or the Upasarga Anu has many meanings. It has many meanings. So Anu can mean continuous. So based on the context of the verse, the word meaning Anu can change. It can either remain continuous or following after or repeatedly or with devotion. So which meaning will fit? It will be based on the verse and the context. So I will give you one example and you'll have to tell me which meaning among the four will fit here. So in the Bhagavad Gita 8.7, Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. Anusmara yuddhacha. So there Anu means what? Among the four meanings, what is the meaning of Anu there? Who will answer? Yeah, Makarand Bakshi Prabhuji. Please carefully think and answer.
Continuous, Prabhuji.
Continuous. Okay. Any other meaning also of it?
With devotion.
Repeatedly, because repeatedly we have to try to remember, no? Repeatedly gets answer. Okay. Now, Rupa Anuga. Rupa Anuga. Rupa means Rupa Goswami, and Anu has a particular meaning. Ga means to go. So here, Rupa Anuga, Anu has what meaning? Who else will answer? There are two hands which are raised. Parampara Prabhu. Yes. Yes, Parampara Prabhu. I have unmuted.
Following after.
Following after. Yes, exactly. Following after. So this is how Anu will have different meanings based on the context. So here, Anu, in this definition of pure devotion.
After, every time.
Hold on. Let me complete my statement. And 1 second. So here Anu, in this definition of Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavrtam Anukulena Krishnanu. Here, what is the meaning? In Rupa Goswami's definition, what is the meaning of Anu? Among these four different meanings, what is the meaning? What about others? I would like to hear from others. What about others? Yes, Ashray Govind Prabhuji. Yeah.
Prabhuji, it's mean, my understanding is to following the footsteps of the Acharya.
Reena Mataji had raised her hand. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhuji. Following the footsteps of Acharya in favorable way.
No, favorable is Anukulena. We are just looking at Anu. Please understand our question. Among this Anu, four different meanings, which one will fit there?
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji.
Okay. Mahavadanya Chaitanya Prabhuji. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradayate. Please, Mahavadanya Prabhuji. Please tell us.
Continuous, Prabhu, I think.
Yes, continuous service. And it can be with devotion also. Anukulena will come there, but with devotion also, following after also, Anuins. So, specifically, if you see the translation here, I'm going back to the translation, continuous service, continuous, Anu. So, continuous is apt here, which fits in. Other definitions also fit, but it is continuous, which is Anu here. This is Anushilanam. So I hope regarding Anu and Shila, what we discussed up till now, it is clear. And if you have any questions regarding this up till now, you can raise your hands and we can take up the questions. Yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvatnam. Prabhu, with regard to this term Anu, since it defines as a continuous service, so actually we don't fit into this Sarup Lakshana also. I mean, completely we are not fitting what we are doing practice, devotional service.
Oh, that we will come after we finish the discussion on what is pure devotion.
Right.
And then whether, whether we fit in or no, we will do that, because let us first go into each of these terms.
Right.
Shuddha Bhakti. So future questions, hold on for some time. But if something is, that's why I'm taking step by step the context. If you have any clarification, whether you have not understood, then we'll take it up now. We can hold on for some time. Any other questions or clarifications? Any other questions or clarification? Okay, so let's now go ahead. Okay. Because of the pravritatmika and the nivritatmika connotations of the root shil, the word anushilanam also takes on two different flavors. I explained what is the connotation. It can have positive or negative meanings. And here it is pravritatmika. Pravrita means he is, ye vyakti bahut pravrit hai, is actively engaged in devotional service. Continuous engagement of the body is there. And another person might be just sitting in one place and absorbed in meditation. So there is no active action there. So there are these two connotations. So that's why the root shil also, Anushilam, has two different flavors. There are 2 different flavors. Cheshta Rupanushīlanam. Cheshta. Arre, kuch to cheshta karo. Sometimes we say in Hindi, do something, man. Do act. They say. So Cheshta Rupanushīlanam. What is Cheshta Rupanushīlanam? Indicates continuous action using mind, body, and words without any spiritual emotions, bhava. So it indicates continuous action, either using mind, body, words, but there is no bhava. So generally refers to devotional service in the sadhana bhakti stage, because we have still not attained still pure love for Krishna, bhava. So in the sadhana bhakti stage, there should be continuous action using body, mind, and words. Then it is called as Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam. Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam indicates continuous action using body, mind, and words with spiritual immersion. Bhava. So a Bhava Bhakta also is engaged in action, but inspired by love for Krishna, because he has bhav. And this generally refers to devotional service in bhava and prema bhakti stages. So this is Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam and Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam. Any questions on this? Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam and Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is further, when he discusses Bhakti Tattva Vivek, he will come to Cheshta Rupa and Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam, and he'll give some further statements. That time I will discuss there again. But because we first don't know what is Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam and Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam, that's why we are first looking into Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Otherwise, we'll not understand Bhaktivinoda Thakur's statement. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur's statement will come in the Bhakti Tattva Vivek, that time I'll ask you a question. That time, you will understand whether you have understood Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam and Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam. Now, everyone understood what is Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam and Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam? Okay. Now, I am going to ask a question. Who will explain what is Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam and Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam? Raise your hand. There is 1, okay, 2, 3, okay. Madan Deshpande Prabhuji.
Cheshta Rupa Anushīlanam is continuous actions using body, mind, and words. It comes at the stage service at sadhana bhakti stage.
Yes.
And
what is
Bhava Rupa Anushīlanam is continuous actions using body, mind, and words, but with spiritual emotions.
Yes, with bhava.
And they are service in bhava and prema bhakti stages.
Yes, excellent. Okay, this much if you get it, excellent. Okay, so I'll not take others. We have 10 more minutes to go, and usually I keep the last 10 minutes for questions, but okay, so we will take 2 slides and then end the discussion. So let us now see what Prabhupada has to say about Anushīlanam. This is from the Nectar of Devotion summary study. This devotional service is part of cultivation, continuous cultivation. It is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. Now here, when Prabhupada is speaking about inactive, he is not speaking about Nivritatmika. He is speaking about other paths where there is no bhakti, there is Ashtanga Yoga, that Prabhupada is speaking about that. There are many different methods for people who want this, but cultivation of Krishna consciousness is different. The particular word used by Srila Rupa Goswami in this connection is anushilana, or cultivation by following the predecessor teachers, acharyas. So here now, Prabhupada is using the word anu to mean what? Among those four meanings, please tell me, raise your hand. Makarand Bakshi Prabhuji, yes. Yes.
Prabhuji, two meanings, repeatedly and following after.
Following after only, exactly, not repeatedly.
Okay.
Following after the previous acharyas. Like Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dridavata Namasyante tu Mam Bhaktya Nityayukta Upasate. So how these great souls are continuously engaged, Satatam, and if we follow in their footsteps, we are, doing Anushilanam. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Without activity, consciousness alone cannot help us. Now, Prabhupada is speaking here about activity, expressing action. Among the two connotations, which connotation it is referring to here? Raise your hand. Who will answer? NTD. I don't know who is this NTD. You can write their full name. And especially those who are initiated, write their initiated names. I would like to call by the initiated names. Cultivation here, Prabhupada is referring to activity, and which connotation it refers to. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, bro. It is referring to chase troop Anushilana, bro.
No, please remember, I'm asking which connotation it refers to. Matnesh Pandey Prabhuji.
It's a pravritatmak, bro.
Yeah,
It is continuous
see, there are two connotations for.
or repeatedly
No.
with devotion.
No, you are speaking about Anu now. I'm speaking about connotations. Sheel has two connotations. Pravritatmika and Nivritatmika.
It's a pravritatmak.
Pravritatmika and Nivritatmika. Which connotation Prabhupada is defining here?
Is external.
No. Virendra, what is it?
Bro, it's a pravritatmak.
Pravritatma. So please again go back to this definition now. That's why we should go back now. Sheel. Two connotations. Pravritatmika or Pravritatmika is also okay. Expressing action to worship. And Nivritti is non-action, intensely absorbed. So Prabhupada, when he's speaking about activity, here is speaking about Pravritatmika. I hope it is clear now for everyone. I hope it is clear. Again, further, Prabhupada. All activities may be divided into two classes. One class may be for achieving a certain goal, and another may be for avoiding some unfavorable circumstance. We will not go into it. When we further will see the definition, we will try to understand this statement. In Sanskrit, these activities are called pravritti and nivritti, positive and negative action. Okay, here Prabhupada is using this pravritti and nivritti. This is nothing to do with pravritatmika and nivritatmika, which we have discussed, the connotations of Sheel. Positive and negative action here, Prabhupada is using based on Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's definition, what he has given commentary on Anya Bilashita Shunyam. Here, positive and negative means actions. These are actions. They are pravritatmika actions. Please remember, they are pravritatmika actions. But positive and negative here means, like, to cultivate Krishna consciousness, we do positive activity, that is chanting of Hare Krishna. There is action there. Chanting of Hare Krishna is action with the words. And we are, holding the beads and all. And to be in Krishna consciousness, we follow certain regulations, don'ts. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. So when we see any meat, we turn our face from that. So there is action, but that is nivritti action, negative action. So rules, do's and don'ts, which are there, the do's are positive action, the don'ts are negative action. And remember, there is action. It's a shield with pravritatmika only. So this is understanding we should have. And Prabhupada is giving this understanding based on Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, which we will see later on. I hope pravritti and nivritti, positive and negative action, is clear to devotees. There are many examples of negative action. For instance, a diseased person has to be cautious and take medicine in order to avoid some unfavorable illness. So the doctor will tell you, do this. You take the medicines. This is positive action. Negative action, don't eat this, don't eat that. So the moment he sees that, oh, I don't want it. So the don'ts, what he follows, these are called as negative action. Both are actions, and that's why it is still pravritatmika connotation of the word shield. But within that, certain things are positive actions, certain are negative actions. This is Prabhupada's explanation of the word Anushilanam. So Krishna Anushilanam we will see tomorrow. Sorry, next week. Now, any questions up till now? Anything you have not understood in especially the last part, pravritti and nivritti action? Virendra Yadav Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhu, with regard to this two connotation of seal, which is pravrittatmaka and nivrittatmaka. So this nivrittatmaka, can this refers to bhavarup anusilanam?
Okay, very good question. Whether nivrittatmika can refer to bhavarup anusilam, it is not so like that. Even a bhava bhakta can be engaged in pravrittatmika activities. In fact, he will be engaged deeper into action out of love for the Lord. He might be running enthusiastically to go and take the darshan of the Lord. And another devotee, a sadhaka, he is running very fast to the Mangalarti because he'll be marked absent. Whereas a bhava bhakta is running because out of ecstasy, out of utkanta, to have the darshan of the Lord. So both are running, both are doing pravritatmika actions, but one is because of vidhi, rule, that if I don't come on time to Mangalarti, I'll be marked absent. He's inspired by that rule, Vaidhi Bhakta. Other one is inspired out of ecstasy, out of love for the Lord. That's why he's running to go and take the darshan. So it need not necessarily refer to a bhava bhakta. At the same time, nivritatmika actions expressing non-actions, like to be intensely absorbed, can be only done by exalted devotees. So both these understanding we should have. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Pravritti and nivritti, positive action and negative action, is different from pravritatmika and nivritatmika shield connotations. I hope it was clear. I made it clear because positive action means pravritatmika. There is action, positive action you're doing to remain Krishna conscious. There are negative actions you're doing to also remain in Krishna consciousness. You're avoiding certain things, don'ts. So that was the difference between the two. So I hope that was clear to all of you. Any other clarifications anyone has? Okay, so we will stop here. It's sharp 8:30. Shri Bhakti Tattva Viveka ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Hare Krishna.